Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Twilley. I'm the director of the Women's Business Center here at Maryland Capital Enterprises. And just to give you a little information about who we are and what we do, we are a nonprofit based out of Salisbury. We assist entrepreneurs that are getting started in business and if they're already in business trying to expand their business. We do business consulting, marketing consulting, training classes such as this, most of which are all of our training classes are free. So definitely take advantage of that. And we do micro and small business loans. Our service area is the entire Eastern Shore of Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County. So thank everybody for joining us today. And just to announce a couple more classes that we have coming up. This Friday, we've been doing a self-care series, and it's called Get a Natural Booster for Body and Business During COVID. And that's from 9:30 to 10:30. And it's all of our classes are still being done virtually right now. So, and then on the 20th, Networking Secrets, Expanding Your Network Even During COVID. And that is from 10 to 12 on January 20th. And I'll just do one more. I'll do our January classes. We have a MCE Women's Business Center COVID Assistance Summit. So this is for business owners to get an opportunity to meet with a subject matter expert, whether it be in accounting or marketing, sales. You'll have an opportunity to meet the expert and then get a one-on-one session with them that actually will be paid for by us. So I would definitely take advantage of that if you're interested. Reach out to me. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. So I'll put our website in there too, so you can check out the other classes that we have coming out. But today we have Rachel Howard, who is the Public Affairs Specialist and Economic Development Specialist with the Small Business Administration. So Rachel, thank you for your time today and doing this for us. We appreciate it. I'll let you get started.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It is always great to be with MCE, our Women's Business Center, and all of your great clients. We always have some fun, and we're real casual. So I don't know how Lisa wants to do it. If there's a chat box and you want to put questions in there, if you just want to save, till the very end, we can let you unmute and ask your own question. However we want to do it.
Rachel, you could have them put them in the chat, and then we'll stop. We'll
just go through at the end.
Want to break? And I'll let you know if we have any questions in there.
Okay, that sounds great.
And then we'll check it again at the end.
Okay. Can you still see the blue logo? I just tried to make it full screen. Awesome.
Yep, okay. Looks great.
Super. So as Lisa said, I am Rachel Howard with the Small Business Administration. We are a federal agency, the smallest of all, but small but mighty. So our whole mission in life since we were organized by Congress in 1953 is quite simply to help you be successful. So you'll see here we are working to ignite change and spark action so that small businesses can confidently grow, start, expand, and we're going to touch on recovery while we're here today. So again, the way we do this, I got ahead of myself. I'm gonna back up. I mentioned that we're from Baltimore, and that just means that that's where our office is. So the office is physically located in Baltimore. Right now, we are all virtual, as most folks are still currently. We do serve the entire state of Maryland, except PG and Montgomery County. So if by chance there's anybody with us today from that area, you would actually be working with our counterparts at the Washington area Metro District Office. I don't want you to get too caught up in territory lines. Probably very similarly for Lisa, as well as our Baltimore Women's Business Center. We all play really well together and get along, and we will make sure you get to the right spot. And a lot of the sort of geography and territory, so to speak, kind of happens behind the scenes. So I don't want you to get too caught up in that, but I did want to mention it while we were here. So how do we help you? Where do we go? We have what we call our 3 C's and a D. So we have, again, these are our primary areas of assistance. We have counseling and training, we have contracting, capital, and then that disaster, the recovery piece. So I mentioned that we are the smallest of the agencies. So that means we have very limited staff.
Rachel, hold on one second. Can you guys still hear Rachel? Just give me a head nod. Okay. I hit mute because someone asked me to mute everyone.
Okay,
And
I took myself off. I'm
okay.
back now. Okay.
All right, there you go. Thanks.
Okay, sorry. Got to keep an eye on you.
That's right.
So I'll just back up a second because I don't know where we got switched over. So primary areas in which we're going to be able to help you, we kind of lump the programs into the three main categories we just had in the previous screen: counseling and training, contracting, capital, and then that disaster recovery piece. So here we are with our resource partners network, and I apologize if I'm repeating, but I mentioned that we are the smallest of the agencies. So we rely on a network of resource partners to really help us be out in the communities and meet with you directly one-on-one. So we're going to talk in just a second or two here about the organizations that are approved and funded through the SBA. So these are our official program partners across the country. There are well over 1,400 offices. Every county in Maryland does have representation from a minimum of one, if not more, of our partners that we're just going to get to. And as we move to the next screen, it does give you contact information. And I don't want you to, I mean, certainly you're welcome to take notes, but don't feel the pressure to kind of, jot everything down. I know I talk fast because you'll see here at the bottom, sba.gov/local assistance. If you go to our sba.gov webpage and across the top right hand section, there's sort of a horizontal menu bar that goes across. And if you click on local assistance, a new page generates. And there's a map. And so what you'll do is you'll put in your zip code and it'll actually generate for you the list of partners closest to farthest away. So if you're in Salisbury, as our example, then obviously the Women's Business Center is going to pop up right away, the Small Business Development Center that's there, and then, miles distance away from you, it'll be broader, through the rest of the state. So again, that's always a great place to start in making sure that you get to the folks that are closest to you. Maybe not. There we go. Okay, so again, all of these organizations are official partners of the SBA. It seems like we're all in competition, like everybody's doing the same thing. And like I said, we all play really well together. We kind of all have found our own niche, but let's face it, information is power. So there is no wrong answer here in terms of which group do you pick? Where do you start? Everything is free, regardless of which of these four organizations or groupings that you would want to work with. You can work with one of them, 3, 4, however you want to do it. Everything is free. You're going to sign some paperwork when you first start with them, a non-disclosure agreement, just saying that your secrets are safe with them. They're not going to share your information without your permission. In the example of later down the road, maybe you want to work with a lender. You may give them permission, to kind of speak on your behalf or, to provide additional information, that sort of a thing. But your secrets are safe. That's always good to know. It is free. There are also no limits in terms of you can literally come and meet with the counselor once and get what you need and go on your merry way, or you may talk to somebody 6 times. You may talk to them this year and not again for 2 more years, whatever it may be. There is no expiration date and there's no limit. So it's not like you're, 4 sessions or 10 sessions or whatever it is. I can actually think of one young lady on the Eastern Shore that literally has worked with her counselor for well over 10 years. So this can be a really worthwhile and long-term relationship for you. And again, no wrong answer. So we have the Small Business Development Center at the top of the list here. We have partnered with the University of Maryland. So their headquarters is in College Park, but they have regional centers all across the state. Lisa, do we know is pretty much everybody from the shore, or do we have some folks from Baltimore with us?
We have some from Baltimore as well.
Okay. Okay. I just don't want to keep picking on the shore. But like I said, every county is represented. So we can find just somebody close to you. Please don't worry about that. So the SBDC, their main office is in College Park, but again, they have a center certainly in downtown Baltimore, Western Maryland, obviously they're in Salisbury covering the shore. So lots of choices for you. Those are paid counselors. It is their day job to work with you. So that is a federally legislated program. Again, they're going to get a portion of their funding through the University of Maryland, but the bulk of their funding does come from SBA. SCORE, on the other hand, the second one listed here, they've kind of changed their names, evolved a little bit over the years. You may have heard of them before as SCORE Counselors to America's Small Business. These are typically, well, they're always volunteers, but typically retired. Not always. There are some active business folks that still participate, but these are folks that are volunteering. They are just wanting to give back to the community. They have a passion for small business. Maybe they had some bumps and bruises and learned things the hard way, and they want to save you some pain. And so they want to help you out and just guide you and be a sounding board for you. Again, score.org has its own generator in terms of addresses. So again, you can go there, says find a mentor, put in your zip code, and it'll identify the local office. And again, all of this certainly, again, is available through the SBA site on that local assistance piece. Women's business centers, obviously, you're with us today. So you either are already a client or you've stumbled on the calendar and hopefully you're maybe in line to sit with a counselor. We have the Baltimore Center that our host there is Morgan State University. Obviously, you're with us at the moment. MCE, Lisa is our host. So that's Maryland Capital Enterprises. And then we do also have a center operating out of Rockville that kind of covers that Frederick, Western Maryland, DC corridor. Again, all three of these folks, can sit with you individually. They can work out the light bulb moment. Maybe you're just, hey, I think this is a great idea. Hey, I can't stand my boss, whatever it may be. Maybe unfortunately, we've seen a lot of businesses close through the pandemic. Maybe it's not your choice that you don't have employment at the moment. So entrepreneurship can be a really great way for you to take control of your own destiny, maybe fulfill your passion and really make a difference. So we want to be here to support you. Certainly, again, any of these folks are able to sit with you, work out that business plan, and it's everything. It might be, do I work from home? Do I rent a space? Have I outgrown the basement or the the family room, whatever it may be? So there's really all through the life cycle, whether again you are just starting out and you're that one person business, or maybe you're a little farther in your journey, and again you're looking at renting or buying facilities, or again, I know a huge topic. I know Lisa covers it a lot in her training sessions. QuickBooks, social media, that's huge right now. We're clearly living in a digital and virtual world. I know they've been really focused on how to have your Facebook presence, how to use LinkedIn, how to use all of these tools to make sure that you're accessible and you can gain attention for your business. The other really cool thing that you may already know by now about the women's business centers, obviously, they are geared toward women entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, but they are open to anybody. We will not turn a man away. He's welcome to have services as well. But they do have a unique opportunity to bring you together, and they offer some networking opportunities for you to, get to meet other female entrepreneurs, whether it's in your same industry or just to kind of support each other, to be a real great network, to build each other up and to cheer each other on. And again, share best practices, hey, I tried for a government contract, it didn't go well, or I can, do this to help you, whatever it may be. And they do a lot in terms of, balancing work and home and, the stress of coming with the being everything to everybody. So, lots and lots of choices. I think if you leave with nothing else today, you should know that help is available to you and you are not alone. I know entrepreneurship can kind of feel like an island sometimes. And we don't want you to in any way think that help isn't there, because we are here for you. The other one here at the bottom is the Veterans Business Outreach Center. We were real excited last year to be able to bring this program to Maryland. So if there's anyone with us that is a veteran, certainly thank you so much for your service. And again, the center here very similarly is going to have the counseling and the training, but just as the Women's Business Center tends to focus on, issues for the female entrepreneur, the Veteran Center again is going to be like-minded people, that can share your experiences and understand what you've been through, whether it was a tour of duty or, whatever it may be, kind of just increase your comfort level. Again, no wrong answer. You can use one of these groups, all of these groups, whatever works for you. It can be based on geography, whoever is the closest to you. It can be based on whoever can get to you the quickest. It might be that one organization is a little backed up and would take a little longer to get an appointment. Again, no wrong answer. Often, the more information we have, the better decisions we can make. So please do take advantage of these resources. And I'm trying to think, I just had a thought and it's gone just like that. I am so sorry. I know I was going to say that I always suggest that either while you're waiting for your appointment or just in advance of that, sort of make a list. Just like if you were going to the doctor, you kind of want to jot down those burning questions, whether it's a notepad by the bed or on your phone, the notes section, whatever it is. Because often we get to the appointment and, you hit it off and things are going well and the dialogue is flowing, and then you get in the car and you're leaving and it's like, oh, I forgot to ask about X, Y, or Z. So it never hurts to have, kind of a running list of questions that you want to make sure you cover in your time there. I will tell you, be prepared for homework, because as much as you are not alone and we are there for you, no one's going to do it for you. You will have to work out your own business plan. Certainly, they will guide you along the way, give you checklists, proofread it, suggestions, and kind of work out the kinks, so to speak. But you are definitely going to be hands-on and taking care of that. So be ready for some homework, but it's all in your best interest. Okay, so moving on into contracting. The federal government is the largest purchaser of goods and services, and really just about anything you can think of, some agency or in some capacity, the government could very well be buying it. I'm talking sales of, $500 billion worth of purchases, from the federal government throughout any given year. So as much as SBA is here to help you grow, start, be successful ultimately, one of the other jobs that Congress has tasked us with is to serve as your advocate. So one of the things that we do is kind of keep an eye on our fellow agencies and make sure that they are giving the designated percentages set by Congress of the contracts each year go to small businesses. So we're trying to level the playing field, make sure that you as a small business owner has the opportunity to compete against those larger businesses. This can really be a great opportunity to grow your business, a really great way to expand. And if you're not sure if it's for you or if you're ready for it, the bottom here, sba.gov/contracting, there's sort of a self-test that you can go through, and it'll give you an idea of if you were ready for that, or again, if it's something that could be a real opportunity for your business. This is also something that the counselors can work with you. And as you would move through the process, whether it's the SBDC, the Women's Business Center, whoever, whichever group you're working with, they may even hand you off to what we call our Procurement and Technical Assistance Center, Ptac. They live and breathe contracting. So again, we all work really well together. And if any one of us outgrows, their capacity to assist you, we know who to call. So we're going to make sure that that you get what you do need. So in addition to acting as your advocate, kind of speaking out and being your voice, at Capitol Hill, we do have these programs that you, as a small business owner, can apply for, these various certifications. So you'll see here, again, we're tasked with making sure that a minimum of 23% of all of those prime contracts are going to go to small businesses. So again, a couple different certification programs are here because that 23% sort of gets broken down. So 5% of those contracts go to 8A, 3% to Hubzone, women owned gets 5%, service vet 3%, those minimums. So in each of these cases, whoever is the qualifying, whichever owner possesses the characteristics, let's say, woman owned, service disabled veteran, you must be a minimum 51% owner of that business. In the case of 8A, that is a minimum requirement of 2 years in business. And that is based on social and economic disadvantage status. And again, all of this is described in much greater detail on SBA.gov. We do, as SBA, the Baltimore office, each month we hold a session similar to this one, but just focused on contracting. So usually it's the fourth Thursday of the month. And it'll go through 8A, it'll go through Hubzone. The women owned last week, we did a really great session with the MCE Women's Business Center and the Morgan Center. We all collaborated. We had a guest speaker from SBA headquarters just to talk about the women owned small business program. So again, lots of opportunities to learn, to get more information. And again, all free right now. Everything again is virtual. So the second one here, the historically underutilized business zones, we call it a hub zone. That one is actually the most widely accessible certification. And I say that because it is not specific to a characteristic, let's say, or a qualifier. You don't have to be a woman. You don't have to be a service disabled veteran, whatever it may be. The case of a hub zone is that the business itself is located in a hub zone. And there's a really nifty map that you can go to at SBA.gov. When you click on contracting, there's a separate section for hub zones and their map will pop up. You can put in your full street address and zip code, and it will tell you whether or not you are in a hub zone. So again, this is going to be a certification for you as the small business to compete for the contracts. The requirement for hub zones is that obviously, the business itself needs to be in that hub zone. And then there's a percentage of their workers that needs to be from a hub zone as well. Now, it doesn't have to be the same hub zone. They just need to reside in a zone. And again, this is really just a driver to kind of reinvigorate many of our neighborhoods that have suffered, and as well to keep as an avenue to increase employment, to increase opportunities for folks, some of these distressed areas, to have access to, some good paying jobs. I will tell you, full disclosure, the system is a little quirky. I can vividly remember an example of a company in Baltimore City that was not in a hub zone. If they moved literally across the street, they were in a hub zone. So I always try to just give folks a heads up that if government contracting is in your future or something you may be interested in, before you sign a lease or you get into any sort of a long-term contract, whether it's a building purchase or just simply, a rental agreement for your business, whatever it is, you may just want to, for fun, double check that hub zone map, even if it doesn't apply today. Maybe it's 2 years down the road. You don't want to be locked into a 5-year lease, and miss out on this opportunity. So again, it's a really easy map. It'll tell you right away what's a hub zone or what's not. The women-owned small business program is pretty much just as it says. So for, women-owned small businesses, again, a way to compete, there is a very set specific list of industry codes that are eligible for that program. All of them are available on the website. So you are going to have to double check your eligibility beyond being a female entrepreneur, but that you are operating in one of those North American industry classification codes that is designated for that program. And then finally, the service disabled veteran owned, again, very plain and simply, service disabled veteran. That is a self-certification on that one. And again, all of the steps are involved, laid out right on the website of how to go through these. Certified.sba.gov at the very bottom there. Again, that should be your first stop if you are interested in government contracting. The very first thing you're going to need to do is get your business registered, because even if you are the perfect person to fulfill a government contract and it is handed to you on a silver platter, if you are not within the certified system, the system for award management, and registered as a government contractor eligible company, it will not be yours. So again, that's the easy one. That's the first step. And again, these are all things that the counselors are able to sit with you, decide if it makes sense for your business to go into contracting. And again, clean up that business plan, make sure your proposals are in order. And again, link you up with the right parties to make sure you can maximize that opportunity. So we're talking a lot about getting started and expanding and growing. And let's face it, that takes money. Money makes the world go around. So again, one of our key programs, key pieces that we do offer is funding. And the way it works is we don't actually directly lend money. Much like our resource partner network, we rely on a partner network of lenders, of financial institutions. And in the state of Maryland, we have close to 100 physically located in Maryland. And then certainly there are many other lenders that are online. Certainly that's been a huge spike in, online banking over the last several years. So the way it works, the easiest way for me to explain this is that there's a kid going to buy their first car. The parents are going to co-sign on that loan. So in this case, you're the kid as a small business, and SBA is going to kind of serve as your parent. We're going to back you. We're going to guarantee that loan for the lender. That reduces their risk because they know that, heaven forbid anything happens and you default on that loan, that the SBA will pay them off. They're going to get their money. So that increases their likelihood of giving you that loan. So why does that matter? How does that help you? Again, we've increased your chances of getting the loan, but it also ensures and gives you kind of a safety net in that we're going to make sure that you get a competitive term. Typically, an SBA loan is going to have a much lower down payment than you would find through traditional banking. There's going to be a flexible overhead requirement, depending on which program you pick, there's different amounts of, down payment and things that you'll need to put. And in some cases, in particular, the microloan program, certainly MCE, our host today, is one of our microlenders, and the whole list is available on our website. I think we're up to 6 across the state of Maryland, I think. There's actually a counseling component so that you would actually be assigned a counselor as part of your loan package. Again, just making sure that you're maximizing those dollars, staying on track, and really using them in the best way possible to help you really, get the business up and moving. So I just mentioned the microloan briefly, and that is just as it sounds. That could literally be a $500 loan on up to about $50,000, and anywhere in between. So again, a great option, especially if you're just starting out. Maybe you don't have business credit yet. It's a really great way to keep from relying on credit cards. Unfortunately, we see it all the time. People borrow from their 401k, they put everything on credit cards, and we'd much rather see you work with a micro lender or one of our bankers and get a realistic, let's call it, interest rate versus, 23% on a credit card. So again, if you leave with nothing else today, know that help is available and you have options and resources. So again, in terms of the SBA, how are we going to help you? We can help you again, whether you're just starting out, if you're launching the business, maybe we're repairing it, maybe you're going to buy a business from someone else. Again, we have revolving credit, we have working capital that can help you just get through that day-to-day, the cash flow, the inventory. You could be buying a building, maybe renovating that building, or maybe you've outgrown the space that you're in and you need to build on your manufacturing and you've run out of room, whatever it may be. So again, inventory, equipment, machinery, purchasing land and real estate is also an option. And then we do also have a separate program, our export working capital program. If you do have a product or service and you want to go global and take your business international, we do have a separate program just for that. So we have the microloans that we talked about. The other two that all of this really breaks out to is our 7A is really our traditional financing. So that's the most common. If somebody says they have an SBA loan, the odds are it's a 7A. The 504 loan would be that bigger brick and mortar, big purchase, a printing press, or I'm a construction company and I need bulldozers, whatever it may be. Think a little bigger in terms of the 504. So in both cases, again, microloan can start as low as $500. The 504 goes all the way up to $5.5 million. So really, no matter where you are in the life cycle of the business and in your needs, odds are one of these loan programs is going to fit for your need. The 7A, again, that sort of mainstream traditional SBA financing, those loans on average, $100,000 to $150,000, but certainly your amount could fall anywhere in there, higher or lower. And then in terms of 504, I said, think big, those are usually $1 million loans. So again, lots of choices for you. And, again, how does it work? So I talked about, we're signing, being the loan guarantee, signing, co-signing. So you're going to start, we always say start with your existing lender. So whoever you're banking with now, we suggest you start the conversation with them because they're going to know you. Odds are they're going to know the community. And it's always a great place to start. With any luck, they should be one of our 100 or more, that are in Maryland and are working with us. We'll get to lender match in a second. That's going to give you another option, but pretty much you're going to want to reach out to the bank. You're going to use all of their forms. So it's not going to be a separate SBA form. They're just going to hand over, their documentation. And again, a lot of that all happen behind the scenes in terms of the SBA part. So you can just tell them, hey, I attended a workshop or I've been doing some research. Tell me about this SBA loan. I'm interested in this loan. So before we get that far, you're going to want to have ready the business plan. Every lender is going to want to see a business plan. So it doesn't matter if you're dealing with the national bank, a community bank, a credit union, all of sort of the basics, business lending standards are the same. So we're going to need to have our business plan. You're going to include in there your expense sheets, your financial statements, the financial projections. And again, these are all things that either if you haven't started, the center, the Women's Business Center, or certainly one of our other counselors are able to give you checklists and sort of guidelines, your template of how to fill that out and pull this all together. Your expenses, your projections, these are all a huge piece of showing the picture of who you are as a business, and what your expectation is in terms of sales, and profits and things, your ability to repay that loan. They're going to want to see all of that. So again, counselor is your best friend. They can really review all of that with you, make sure everything is kind of giving your best foot forward. You're putting together the best picture of who you are as that business before it gets to the lender. We would hate to, just sort of throw something together and let them look at it and turn you away. It's always better to check in with the counselor and make sure kind of you've gone through with a fine-tooth comb and you're putting your best foot forward. Saves everybody a whole lot of time and heartache. So again, definitely get with a counselor. So I'm,
I'll stop you for a second.
Yep.
There's a question in the chat. Is there a list of lenders in Maryland who offer SBA loans?
Yeah, if you go to the sba.gov/MD, there is a lending section down underneath the calendar, and there should be a listing there. But here's the other thing that we have right here that you can do, is if you go to sba.gov, we have what we call lender match. So if you click on lender match, you're going to very simply describe your needs. So you're going to say, hi, I'm Rachel. I want to start a daycare. I need $50,000. This is where I'm located. You're going to send it off. And then within ideally 2 days, the lenders are going to come back to you and say, hey, we got your initial inquiry. We'd love to talk to you more. You'll have private conversations with those folks, decide who may be a good fit for you or who is able to assist you. And then again, you would use their documentation to apply for the loan. And again, you've got the list online, you've got certainly lender matches available to you. And then again, the counselors are also a great resource in terms of identifying, what a good lead for you may be, or, what good options there are. I mentioned we do have national banks, regional and community banks, micro lenders, credit unions. We really have a great variety of folks that are available. And quite often the counselors will sort of have some insider information, so to speak, in that it is rare, but there are a few lenders that simply will not do a restaurant. They just won't. And there may be another lender that all they do is agricultural businesses. So these are things that the lenders, again, because it's their day job, not the lenders, I apologize, the counselors, they've worked with a lot of clients. They know what the lenders are looking for, and they know what sort of a deal, so to speak, what sort of a loan that bank likes, whether it's a dollar amount or an industry, whatever it may be. So, again, tons of information on the SBA website. You can always use Lender Match as a direct line into the lender, or again, check with whoever you're banking with now, and then certainly counselors are always a great resource as well. So no matter who or how you go about this, whether it's the microloan, 504, 7A, whatever it may be, again, we're using the same basic model to assess the credit worthiness, so in addition to the business plan, and much of this is covered in that business plan, but we're really looking at what we call here the 5 C's model, which is standard, in the banking industry. So we're looking at your character, number one. They're going to look at your credit report, you as the individual. They're going to look at, your repayment history, just in general, getting a picture, again, of who you are. The cash flow itself, they're going to want to know, we mentioned earlier about your projections and your sales figures, your expenses. They're going to want to know that you have the ability to repay the loan. There's a reasonable expectation that you're going to make enough money every month to cover the rent, to cover back this loan payment, all of those things. They're going to want to see that you have a buffer, sort of that little rainy day fund. You have some leeway, an ability to kind of weather the storm if there is a dip in sales. They will look at the collateral of the business, both the business and the personal assets. They'll take a look at those. Capitalization. So this is what are the business assets? Any retained earnings from the business. They'll look at your equity as the individual business owner. They're going to look at the balance between the collateral, your debt against that collateral. Are there liquid holdings? Kind of what cash do you have on hand in the bank? Pretty much they just want to look at the big picture of things and know that you as the owner are invested in the business. They want to know, to be blunt about it, that they're not the only one with something to lose. They want to know that your heart is in it, your mind is in it, your dollars are in it. Quite often we talk a good game, but the money and where things are, and that sort of repayment picture is really a good assessment for them. And then conditions. So this is going to be a huge part of your business plan. If you haven't already started one or have one completed, you're going to look at the conditions. And that means how many other flower shops are there in my neighborhood or within a certain mile radius. So in addition to competition, we'll look at industry trends. We've noticed a lot of people aren't eating in restaurants, whether because the businesses are shut down or because people prefer carry out, so there's lots of things that are happening, whether it's the industry, the market, the local area. The Census Bureau can be a great resource, just census.gov. They can give you all sorts of good information about population. If you're going to open a daycare, you're going to want to have an idea of how many kids are in that county or in that 30-mile, 20-mile, whatever sort of radius. So these are all things, again, that are going to be in that business plan, that are going to speak to the likelihood of your success, that you've thought long and hard about which area, to locate the business in. And again, the counselor can be a huge resource for you as well. So the last thing that we'll touch on before we'll take over for questions is disaster, that recovery piece that we talked about in the beginning. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people had no idea who SBA was before the last couple of years. And I'm sure you've heard a whole lot about us in the news through the course of the pandemic. So many people don't realize that in the instance of a disaster, a hurricane, a flood, whatever it may have been, you always think FEMA. FEMA always comes to mind, but in reality, it is the SBA that is providing those loans. So in times of disaster, SBA serves as the country's bank for disaster loans. So this would be the only time that SBA would directly lend you money. In every other instance, you're going to work through a lending partner, whether it's a micro lender, or community development group for a 504 loan, the standard, financial institutions, even the online lenders. So this is the only time we do have direct loans. Again, a huge point for you to take away today, not that we ever want anybody to have to go through, a flood or whatever it may be, but I really want to make sure people understand that these disaster loans are available to not only a small business, but also a homeowner and a renter. So several years ago, we had Superstorm Sandy. I remember being in Crisfield at the fire department when we had, workshops and sort of town hall meetings to help tell people, what business was available, what assistance was available. And we had people that were renting. We had people that, were the homeowner. It isn't just all businesses. So again, everybody is eligible, and it gets even more confusing that we're the Small Business Administration, but we can help renters. And so I always like to make sure that people understand that this is a universal program when it comes to times of disaster. So again, the way this would work is, this would be a loan. It is not a grant. Typically right now we're running at about a 3.25% interest rate. Ideally, the loan repayment can go all the way out 20 years. So it's a very realistic and comfortable loan payment for you. And it can help you recover your real estate, cover those expenses. It will help with personal property. We had a lot of people in that example of Crisfield with that superstorm that were, flooding, whether it was the basement or even the ground level of their home. They lost a lot through water damage. So personal property is covered. Economic injury is a huge piece that obviously in light of the pandemic has been in the news quite a bit. We call that our economic injury disaster loan. So that is in the case of you have suffered a financial loss. Let's say you are a restaurant and the state of Maryland shut down restaurants for a period of time. Maybe altogether, maybe, they were limited to carry out, whatever it may be. So clearly there was a huge loss of sales there. So this would be an opportunity for you to have applied for the loan to recover that gap in the sales. It also can help you recover machinery and equipment, again, in that flooding example of Crisfield with Superstorm. We had trucks, automobiles, work vans, things that were flooded. People needed that equipment, to fulfill their job. And then certainly inventory. The other piece here, the active duty military, is a feature in which if you are a service member and you own a business and you are called back into military duty, again, you would be able to apply for this loan to help you bridge that gap of either your absence in the business or if you had to temporarily shut down. So again, all of this is on SBA.gov. Hopefully none of us will ever have a need for it, but I do feel it's important for folks to understand that. And if there's anybody with us today that did apply last year, you were already in business and you did apply for the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, in response to the pandemic. That's not something that we at SBA, the district office, can help you with in terms of customer service or if you had questions or, how to make those payments. But you should have gotten in your paperwork, or we can follow up after the fact and I can get you that customer service, the 800 number and the email for them. And I think we just have one more here. Like I said, I'm with Baltimore. Again, we're covering the whole state. So that sba.gov/MD just shortcuts you to the local page. The main phone number there, 962-6195. We actually do have, we answer our phone in person. Definitely give us a call, reach out, let us know what we can do. The email there in the middle, Baltimore, that's actually underscore in the space. So it's Baltimore_DO for district office. So Baltimore_DO@sba.gov. Certainly you're welcome to give us an email and let us know how we can help you. We do have a Twitter account. That's probably the quickest way for us to disseminate information. We try to do some fun facts as well as notices on either program changes or upcoming events. And then certainly we do have a email blast newsletter that we do as well. So again, we don't know how to help if you don't let us know what you need. So please don't be shy, reach out, stay in touch. And it's so great that you guys are here today, hopefully already as clients or soon to be for the Women's Business Center, because whether you're with Lisa in Salisbury or Ann in Baltimore, you guys are in great hands. We've got some really great counselors, and certainly they are just knocking it out of the park, doing great things on your behalf. So again, let us know how we can help. I'm going to stop talking. Yay, everybody's happy. And either we can ask questions out loud or people can unmute, whatever we want to do, Lisa, whatever you want to do.
That's fine. If anybody wants to unmute and ask questions, that would be great.
I just wanted to say thank you for that. That was awesome. Like a lot of times you try to enter into business, trying to do everything yourself and you get frustrated, even discouraged. So that was just really awesome.
Well,
thank you.
Like I said, know that you're not alone. Certainly, the counselors are available to work with you one-on-one. We at SBA, we're a little less hands-on in terms of long-term. I mean, certainly we're available to ask questions and to get you on the right track, but the counselor really is going to be your best friend. And again, there's no limit. I mean, you can meet with them once, you can meet with them every month for the next 3 years, whatever it takes. And again, like I said, the one client I can think of vividly that every time she has to decide, do I hire full-time workers? Do I hire part-time workers? Do I buy a truck? Do I rent a truck? She goes back to her counselor. And I mean, this woman is now, she literally started in her home as a one-lady show, and she now employs over 50 people and is a multi-million-dollar business, and she still comes back to her counselor. So, again, we want to see you succeed, and we will make sure everything within our power that we get you to the right spot, and just don't get discouraged, because you are more than capable, and we will make sure you stay on track.
Thank you.
Awesome. Anybody else? Everybody's quiet.
I know.
Rachel, thank you so much for doing this for us today. And we're going to be offering these again. So if you have colleagues or people that you want to let know that we're going to be doing this or about our other classes, please do. We also send out an evaluation after each class. If you guys can fill that out, we'll send it out by email and just send it back to us. We appreciate it. We use that feedback to help us for future classes, and it also assists in our getting more grant monies to provide free classes. So we appreciate that. We have great job, Rachel. Thank you, and Happy New Year from Nancy.
Yeah.
So if there's no more questions, then we'll let you guys go and have a great day. Thank you again, Rachel. And thanks for attending, everyone.
I think if I can really quick for whoever's left with us, just since Nancy's here, maybe she's still with us. We weren't going to call her out, but Nancy LaJoyce is here from the state of Maryland. She's one of their regional representatives. And I just want to also make a note that the state of Maryland, their open for business site through the Department of Commerce has really got just a tremendous wealth of resources for you. So we always get lots of questions about, where do I register my business name, and do I need a license for my business, whether, maybe you're a hair salon or, home health care, whatever it may be. There's lots of individual occupations that need licenses and things. So the state of Maryland itself, and if you just search, maryland.gov, it'll come up for you. It's called Open for Business, their Business Express site, and they have lots of great links, and they'll, again, get you in the right spot to make sure that you're getting all of your permitting and staying in touch with all those regulations. Oh my Lord, regulations. I am so sorry. This is my second one of these this morning. I'm getting tongue tied. But again, just lots of great information there through the state of Maryland site, because those are, in terms of permitting and actually registering the name and things, those are things that SBA does not do at the federal level. That's all done at either the state or your local county or city level. So she may be with us, she may be gone, but thanks,
She's
Nancy.
here. She's here. She
Okay.
said, she just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Businessexpress.maryland.gov.
Oh, yay. Thank you. There we
And
go.
thank you for
so much.
mentioning that. She's thanking you, but I'm also was getting ready to thank you for mentioning that as well.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, again, it can be confusing over who does what.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't always know where to turn. So again, whether it's, Nancy and me or Lisa, and we all, again, work really well together. And again, we're more than happy to make sure you're in the right spot and get you pointed in the right direction. So as we said earlier, don't be overwhelmed. It can feel like an island, but know that you've definitely got help.
That's right.
Oh, I thought of one question.
Okay.
So, if you're, say if you had just started a business, like I think I kind of did it like out of order. I tried to set up my LLC first, and
Okay.
I wasn't making any money yet. So, like a year went by, and I didn't realize that if I didn't make any money, I still needed to pay taxes. So now I'm not in good standing. So I wasn't like really sure what to do about that, or if I could pull it out of good stand. I mean, get it back in good standing. I don't know if you have resources to help with that.
Yeah. Lisa, you can chime in as well, but I mean, again, that's something that the counselor will be able to sit with you. That's one of those questions that every situation is unique. But again, they'll be able to address to you, kind of work it through with you. It may be a simple correction, especially in that you didn't make money, but at the same time, you may just need to close that one down and start over. But again, those are things that the counselor can work with you and figure out what's the best way. And let's be real, the cheapest way. Sometimes it's easier just to start over than it is to kind of pay to get out of your mess. But again, they'll be able to make sure that unfortunate incident doesn't follow you. So again, they'll get you on the right track. So, and and then that's the other thing, I keep saying counselor. You may run into a situation in your journey where you are still going to need a lawyer. You will still need an accountant. I mean, there are limitations on what the counselor can do and provide you with, but at the same time, you can cover a lot of the groundwork with the counselor, and a lot of the things that you can do for yourself, either with your own time or your own research, your own filing of a document, or, filling out an application, so that by the time you need the accountant or you need the lawyer, you are literally paying them for one thing. You're not going to sit there and get charged for 2 hours of conversation to not get anywhere. You can kind of work through with your counselor exactly what you're asking the lawyer for, exactly what you need from the accountant, so that you aren't getting charged that hourly billable rate, just to kind of work through conversation. So that's the other thing. I think that, we can do a lot of things, but we can't do everything. But we'll try. We'll get you as far as we can.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, well, if no one has any more questions, then we will let you guys get back to your day, and thank you for joining us. hope to see you again on some of our future classes. And if you have any questions, any further questions, just reach out to me. I put my email in the chat. So I will look forward to talking to anyone.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys for stopping by.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
great day.
Rachel. You too.
Thank you.